Well, what's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma. This one is an SR5 4x4 finished in celestial silver. MSRP is a little over $44,000. Big shout out to Flo Toyota for providing this new truck for today's video. Take a look at their website linked down below. Underneath the hood of the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma, you're going to find the 2.4 liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. This pumps out 278 horsepower with 317 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. This truck also runs on an 18.2 gallon fuel tank. It does have 4-wheel drive. You can expect 19 miles per gallon in the city with 24 out on the highway. Overall curb weight is 4,600 pounds and max towing capacity is about 6,300 pounds. Overall length is 213 inches with a wheelbase at 131.9. Width is 77.8 and height is 74.6 inches. Moving on to the styling now with the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma. It looks similar to the previous generation, however, it is definitely a little bit more aggressive and bold. You got a nice set of black headlights. They even say Tacoma on the side. Nice housings with the LED beam and then your halogen turn signal. You have a nice silver design around the center grille with some black plastic material, Toyota badge as well. And then down below you can see your LED fog lights. There's a safety sensor, more openings to provide cooling to the engine and intercooler, plastic on the front portion of the bumper, and then a very large air dam to provide better efficiency. You can also see some trim underneath the headlights and a nice cutout on the side of these front fenders. Overall, it's a great looking truck. I really like the extra bold design to it. You got really sharp lines on both sides of the hood that fade their way towards the windshield just to aid in that off-road style. And then at the side profile, the SR5 just has a basic set of silver wheels. You can see the multi-spoke design. These are 17-inch diameter. And then the body-colored fender flares with a lot of sharp contours throughout that front fender. You can see chrome Toyota badge on the side of the door with a sharp body line. Nice set of upgraded running boards. And then body color for your mirror caps along with the door handles. You're going to see the black trim surrounding the windows just to make all the glass blend nicely. And then silver for the roof. I also like the overall side profile. You can see all those sharp contours. You can see a nice sharp body line on the back side of the roof, along with your third brake light up here, solid piece of glass, and then more sharp body lines for the rear fender. And then another look at the molded fender flares. Higher trim levels are going to get the wider plastic overlays to give you a wider appearance. You can also see in back the nice LED taillights with the red color, body colored bumper caps, and then part of the frame is exposed with lift points for off-road use. Trailer hitch right in the center with all of your connections. You can see Tacoma stamped into the tailgate with 4x4. You also have your backup camera and Toyota written on the handle, and then more sharp lines to finish up the design. Moving on to the key fob, you just get lock and unlock along with your panic icon, and then you can just grab the door handle. It'll automatically unlock, and we can take a look at the interior. This SR5 just has a more simple fabric interior with all black trim. Moving to the door panel, you can see it finished off in black. It's a more harder plastic. You do get a little bit of soft touch, at least on your armrest with some padding. Nice grab handle. All of your controls right here, along with your release handle. There is extra storage down below, along with even more storage down below that. And then all manual controls on the seat with adjustable lumbar. You can pull this bar to slide it forwards and back. Then you have nice bolsters on the fabric, and I like the cool contours to it. Got a nice texture, kind of like diamond plated. Has a sporty design for a basic seat, and overall they are pretty comfortable. Then you can see the nice black steering wheel finished in a rubber vinyl durable material with all black trim. And then now inside the SR5 Tacoma, keep my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. So being the SR5, you're going to have the smaller 8-inch screen rather than the 14-inch screen, and then the digital gauge cluster is a little bit different as well. Rather than being a full screen, you have basically 3 individual sections to it. So you can see temperature on the left, fuel on the right, your tach right in the center, and then you can scroll a little bit on the steering wheel and see all sorts of different vitals through the screen. So I like how you're still able to get a pretty modern gauge cluster with basically everything you could possibly need to know in the gauge cluster itself. All your safety settings as well are in this truck, and then continue down into message. So nice design overall. Honestly, it looks good, very simple. You have those controls on the left side along with Bluetooth and audio, and then all your cruise control settings are on the right. You even have the lane keeping and forward pacing. The stalk on the right side is for all the windshield wipers, and then on the left stalk, of course, you're gonna have headlights. And then down below on the left side of the steering wheel, we have some interior dimming, automatic high beams, as well as traction control, your bed light as well. One of the air vents, just some black plastic material across the dash. And then on the far side, there is a nice storage cubby. You can fit a couple phones in here. It says Tacoma written out with this nice dark gray. And then the 8-inch screen basically has the exact same functions that you see on the 14-inch screen. So once you set it up, you will have your navigation. Of course, you saw audio, Bluetooth connectivity, and then under car, you have some trip information you're able to toggle through, vehicle alerts, and then settings within the truck. So honestly, I don't mind the screen at all. It's big enough, and the bezel itself is a lot smaller than the 14-inch to where you really don't notice it. It doesn't just look stuck on. So not a bad setup. Volume icon as well. You have your climate control vents, and then climate controls down below. You see temperature with a huge range of actual temperature, which is kind of cool to see how far this can go. You can also see your different zones. You have fan speed, toggles down below, storage down below. Some options will have wireless charging right here. And then we have your plugs on the far right side with more storage all down below the shifter. There's even a grab handle on the right side with a hook over here. You can see your different selections for the transmission. And then right in the center, we have the 4-wheel drive. You basically push this to unlock it and then toggle it into each drive mode. We have a tow and haul mode, extra power right here, which will keep the transmission in a little bit more performance focused gear. You see your brake hold, a bunch of blink switches, and then cup holders right in the center. We have some vinyl material right here for your armrests with plenty of storage down below, and then a nice large glove box with a huge opening. One last look at the interior. There is quite a lot of plastic in here, a lot of hard plastics, vinyls, nothing real about the interior. However, it is a pretty nice layout overall, very rugged. Got your black headliner with just your basic dome lights up above, and then you do have a sunglass holder with a thin mirror. Moving on to the rear seat space, if we grab the door and open it up, just like in the front, you have a solid plastic door panel. There is just hard plastic for your armrest, a little bit of storage, your window control, and more storage down below. And then in back, just the same fabric all throughout these seats. You get a little bit of that diamond plated pattern. This can also seat 3 people. And then you can grab the strap and lift the bases up, and you have a lot of hidden storage. Really makes this a pretty useful truck with all that amount of storage space. You're also gonna see 2 USB ports down below with 2 cup holders, storage behind that seat, and then you can pull this and actually fold these down. These will fold nice and flat. You got a durable fabric carpet material, and there's a lot of hidden storage space all behind these seats. So sitting into the backseat now with the new Toyota Tacoma, I would say this is kind of in the middle. It's better than some, however, it still could be better. At 5'11", you do get a lot of headroom. I have maybe 3 or 4 inches with the driver's seat set to my height. My knees are just barely touching the seat, and my feet are nicely tucked underneath the seat. So it's fine. The cushions themselves that you're sitting on have enough padding. They do feel a little low. The backs are a little straight up. Hard armrests aren't the greatest, and there's no armrest in the center. Also no air vents. It's fine though, honestly. I could be back here for a little while. If you slouch a little bit, you know, really not all too bad. I wouldn't mind it having a little bit more adjustments. But in a pinch, if you need this for some friends, maybe kids every now and then, not that bad. Moving on to the bed space, we can just grab the handle. This one will not have the soft open, so you just lightly do that. This one's gonna have a composite bed liner in here. You are gonna also see some hooks all throughout, along with 3 different channels to add more accessories. Now, as far as the bed's dimensions, first off, the payload capacity is 1,600 pounds. The bed depth is 21.2 inches. The width in between the wheel wells is 44.7 inches, and this is a 60.3 inch bed. So decent size overall, pretty useful as well, especially with the extra tow hooks. And the tailgate doesn't really weigh all too much. Easy enough, we can close it up. Getting up to speed, this 4-cylinder is pretty peppy. I like it a lot, honestly. It doesn't sound the best. It kind of just sounds like a generic 4-cylinder. However, you can hear the turbo a little bit. And honestly, I would assume some people are going to be modifying these over time and make these sound even cooler. So I could see some fun mods to make this truck really come alive. Might be a little unconventional from a truck owner to a kind of doing sports car modifications, but this is a fun engine. The transmission does a great job delivering the power, so I really don't have any complaints with how the 4-cylinder runs. It seems like a really good power plant, plenty of power. This thing gets up to speed, and the transmission truly is very smooth and good at doing what it's supposed to be doing. There's no gear hunting or anything weird like previous generations with the sluggish V6 and more basic transmission. Ride quality and things like that, this still rides like a truck. There are some in this category that are going to ride a little bit more like crossovers. They're kind of losing the truckness that makes something like this stand out. So the Tacoma still is rugged. It feels like a truck. Not even hitting like 4,000 RPM, thing just gets right up to speed with zero issues. But anyways, ride quality is good. You know, you can feel the bumps. It feels like a truck. However, it still is a smooth vehicle. And one thing I like a lot, I think they've tuned the suspension a lot better to where you don't get that crazy brake dive or anything like that when you hit the brakes. I really don't like how the previous gen just was all over the place if you were hitting the brakes. This one feels a lot more linear when you're hitting the brakes, which I like a lot. The seats are also pretty comfortable. I really fit in these nicely. You can pump them up and down for different heights. I know previous generations, some people didn't like how it was either too high or too low. I feel like you're not gonna have an issue just getting really comfortable in this Tacoma. Armrests are on a great place, great visibility out the front. The dashboard is nice and flat to where it just kind of helps give you a good view out. And then over your left and right shoulder, as you would expect with any truck, I mean, perfectly fine to see out of. There's also really good use of storage in here. It's not really all too noisy with wind noise and road noise. So it's a more refined truck, I think, than the previous generation. It's just an easy vehicle to drive, and it's quite comfortable, honestly. So if we go ahead and try a 3-point turn, even with the 8-inch screen, the backup camera still is very large versus even the 14-inch screen. But honestly, super HD, clear graphics, can easily see what we're doing. You have to turn the steering wheel quite a lot, but it's a truck, kind of the nature of it. But pretty easy truck overall to use. There's no drive modes in this particular one. The ECT power just kind of holds the transmission a little bit sharper. But overall, it's nice to drive. You are going to see a lot of plastic, so the materials could be better. However, higher trim levels they are. So Toyota does a good job from the base models to the fully loaded ones, kind of giving you materials that fit the price point, I guess, fit the trim level. And this is a pretty competitively priced truck to the competition. So honest thoughts with the new Toyota Tacoma. The power plant, not everybody is a fan of having 4 cylinders. Personally, I'm kind of 50-50. I like the idea of having a V6. They are just very robust engines, especially a Toyota V6, one of the most reliable engines in the game. So going to a turbo, yeah, you're adding more parts, could be more stress on the engine given it is smaller to have to handle being a truck. So we will have to see as time goes on how robust and reliable this 4-cylinder turbo engine can be. Now, Toyota in general has been producing turbo engines for decades. It's nothing new to them on a global platform. Now, in the USA, we really haven't seen many turbo engines from them. So this is definitely new for the US market, especially to be in a truck. I know they had a lot of turbo diesels in some European markets, so very different engine than a turbo gas. Nonetheless, though, I'm confident that Toyota has built something good. You know, we have actually been able to talk to some of the engineers at a few events, and you know, they've said they've tested these engines at much higher boost settings and really abused these engines to see what they can do. So you would think these should be pretty solid. Again, time will tell. You know, they can tell you, you know, all the good things you want to hear, but time will of course tell with how good these are. So we will see how these stack up as more and more of these get out to buyers. Driving it though, I mean, you barely give a gas 4,000 RPM and you are zipping right up to speed. You did not get that in the V6. So this is much more fun to drive. There is some character to it to where it feels lively. Some complaints, there is a lot of plastic in here. You know, one of my friends was looking to buy one of these and I think he's gonna be buying the Colorado instead just because for about this price point, you can get a much nicer interior. I spec'd a GMC Canyon for 45 grand and it had a cool interior with the two-tone, probably mostly synthetic leathers, but you still had it all over the place to make it feel like a nicer truck. So the Toyota, you do have to spend a little bit more to get the nicest interiors. The TRD Pros look amazing. I'm sure those are going to be well into the $60,000 range. So there is a big price range of the Tacoma, and you know, even even this one, 44 grand, it is all plastic, it is all fake materials, there's nothing real about the interior. I like the look though. When you compare this to the other truck, I think the interior looks great. The contours, the shapes, the use of storage, the comfort level. I mean, this seat is great to be in. I feel really comfortable sitting in this truck. So that has a lot going for why you would pick the Tacoma over the competition. It's a nice truck to drive. And the fact that I think there is quite a lot of character from the engine and drivetrain, it's nice. You know, it's a fun place to be. Something I feel like I could daily drive all the time, and I know it's capable off-roading, using the bed space. The back seats, I feel like in this category, the mid-size trucks, they're never that good anyway. This is better than the Ranger, it's better than the Nissan Frontier. I think GM probably gives you just a little bit better back seat space, so that's probably the biggest competitor, honestly, is the new GM trucks. I think they're really good. So at this point, it is a much more of a toss-up on which truck is best. Personally, I think GM and Toyota are the best options. I think they have the coolest options and just the nicest trucks overall. And for Toyota, you just have to spend at least 50 grand, I would say, to get the nicer interiors. So that's probably just the biggest complaint, is just interior materials could be nicer. And provided the 4-cylinder can be bulletproof reliable and give you a long-lasting life with this truck, honestly, it's one heck of a great truck to get. It drives great and is probably going to do everything you need it to do. So those are my thoughts with the 2024 Toyota Tacoma. Cool driving, a more basic SR5 4x4. This is probably a trim level a lot of people are going to be getting, just because mid 40 grand is a lot more attractive than $50,000. So cool option to see. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for plenty more content to come. And then a big shout out and thank you to Flo Toyota of Statesville for providing this truck for today's video. Take a look at their website, linked down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.